Good morning, good morning. The Senate will come to order. I ask all unauthorized personnel to exit the chamber. I recognize the senator from the 28th to speak to the Journal.
Good morning, Mr. President. Beautiful morning here today in our Georgia State Capitol. Got a lot of Boy Scouts running around today. We welcome them. And all you Boy Scouts over the age of 12, we hope y'all will sign up one day to come be pages with us. I'm about to announce our pages here shortly. But before I do, Mr. President, wanted you to know on this day in 1994, our U.S. Navy issued the first permanent order assigning women on combat ships. Today is National Be Heard Day. So I want all of y'all to hear me when I announce these pages. Out of Roswell, we have Brooks Bolton. Out of Marietta, actually, Marietta didn't show up. Out of Roswell, we have Kajani Davis, Charlie Holloman, Matthew Ramsey, all three of which are out of Roswell. Out of Marietta, we have Kazi Safi. Out of Clarksville, we have McKay Stapleton. Out of Forsyth, we have Alex Alsabrook. Out of Fayetteville, we have Janai Buford. Out of Forsyth, we have Jazariah Bowie. Out of Macon, we have Jersey Comer. Out of Forsyth, we have Ryan Hughley and Heaven Johnson. Liam Johnson. Nevaeh Jones. And then out of Atlanta, we have Dexter Lyons. Out of Marietta, we have Ariana Panthier. Out of Forsyth, we have Charity Riles and Madeline Riles. Out of Atlanta, we have Sienna Taylor. Out of Forsyth, we have Amelia and Maximilian Wilburn. Y'all give our pages a big round of applause. We appreciate y'all taking time out of your busy schedules and out of school to be with us today. Mr. President, the Journal has been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator. A lot of pages this year. Love having our pages. Appreciate y'all being here too. So, is there objection to dispensing of the reading of the Journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the Journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to confirmation of the Journal? Chair hears none. The Journal is confirmed. All senators who have bills and resolutions introduced, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. Senator from the 50th, you got your light on? One. All right. First reading and references of Senate bills and resolutions. Secretary?
Senate Bill 571 by Senator Lucas of the 26th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for a new charter for the
State
city.
and local government.
Senate Bill 572 by Senator Strickland of the 17th, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize.
State and local government.
Senate Bill 573 by Senator Strickland of the 17th, a bill entitled to an act to authorize.
State and local government.
Senate Bill 574 by Senator Strickland of the 17th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend
State
an
and
act.
local government.
Senate Bill 575 by Senator Williams of the 25th, a bill to be entitled an act to create the Milledgeville Public
State
School.
and local government.
Senate Resolution 727 by Senator Mallow of the 2nd and others, a resolution creating the Georgia's Creative Economy Senate.
Economic development.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
First reading references. Recognize the Majority Leader for a motion.
Good morning, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to suspend Senate Rule 3-3.1, Paragraph A, to allow for the reading and the assignment of the governor's appointments.
The Majority Leader has moved and asked for unanimous consent to suspend the Senate Rules 3-3 to allow for a reading of the assignment of the governor's appointments. And if there's no objection, Hearing none, Secretary will read them.
Dear Secretary Cook, attached is the list of appointments to various boards, commissions, authorities, and other entities requiring Senate confirmation. This list is submitted pursuant to Senate Rules 3-3.1. If we can provide you with any additional information to assist your office in the confirmation process, please let us know. Thank you for assistance. Sincerely, Governor Brian Kemp. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Per Senate rules, we'll put them in Committee on Assignments. Thank you, Senator. First reading references of House bills. Secretary?
House Bill 1330 by Representative Stoner of the 40th and others, a bill to be town and act to amend an act known as the Self-Cog
State and
Law.
local government.
House Bill 1372 by Representative Smith of the 138th
State
and
and
others.
local government.
House Bill 1399 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th and others, a bill to
State
be...
and local government.
House Bill 1400 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to be town and act
State and local
to...
government.
House Bill 1401 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to be town and act to provide a new charter for the city
State and
of...
local government.
House Bill 1403 by Representative Ridley of the 6th, a bill to be town and act to amend an
State
act.
and local government.
House Bill 1411 by Representative Meeks of the 178th and others, a bill to be town and act to amend
State
an
and
act.
local government.
House Bill 1412 by Representative Blackman of the 146th and others, a bill to be town and act to create.
State and local government.
House Bill 1414 by Representative Hilton of the 48th and others, a bill to be town and act to provide for the creation of one or more community
State and
improvement.
local government.
House Bill 1419 by Representative Camp of the 145th, a bill to be town and act to create the Pike County
State
Public.
and local government.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary read reports to Standing Committee.
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Children and Family has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 509 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Education and Youth has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 874 do pass, House Bill 1183 do pass, and House Bill 1122 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Dixon of the 45th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Finance has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 808 do pass, House Bill 871 do pass, House Bill 1181 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Huff-Settler of the 52nd District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Government Oversight has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 589 do pass by substitute and House Bill 1044 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Harbin of the 16th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Higher Education has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 982 do pass and House Bill 1124 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Hickman of the 4th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Public Safety has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that House Bill 878 do pass by substitute, House Bill 997 do pass, House Bill 1001 do pass by substitute, House Bill 907 do pass by substitute, and House Bill 301 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Albers of the 56th District Chairman. Additionally, dear Mr. Secretary, pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.6, I hereby give notice that I will introduce a minority report to be read along with the majority report of House Bill 301, which Public Safety passed out on Wednesday, March 6, 2024. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kim Jackson of the 41st District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Regulated Industries and Utilities has introduced volume legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation that Senate Resolution 619 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Cowser of the 46th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary will read bills for the second time.
House Bill 456 by Representative Gunter of the 8th and others. Local government increased term for municipal court judges from 1 year to 2 years revisions. House Bill 873 by Representative Gunter of the 8th and others. Courts, juvenile treatment, and court divisions create. House Bill 884 by Representative Alexander of the 66th and others. Douglas Judicial Circuit provide for a 4th judge. House Bill 906 by Representative Yurda of the 152nd and others. Tipton Judicial Circuit provide for a 3rd judge. House Bill 946 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th and others. Special District Mass Transportation Sales and Use Tax Intergovernmental Agreement Revised Requirements. House Bill 1078 by Representative Treya of the 166th and others. Community Health Department of Georgia Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly, establish and implement. House Bill 1083 by Representative Williamson of the 112th and others. Community Health Department of Adult Residential Mental Health Services licensing, extend grace periods. That completes the order, Mr. President.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse or recognize the senator from the 33rd?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, y'all. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the following senators for business inside the Capitol: 42, 17, 36, 38, 43, and 41, sir.
Without objection, senators ask if senators from the 42nd, the 17th, the 36th, the 38th, the 43rd, and the 41st be excused. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Without objection, they're excused. Any other motions to excuse? Secretary will call the roll of senators. Please signify your presence by voting the yea switch. Secretary, unlock the machine. It is now time for the morning devotion, and I ask that everybody take your seats and try to have everybody's attention. It's time for our morning devotion, and we're going to ask the senator from the 35th to lead us in our pledge and introduce our pastor of the day. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, please stand and let us salute our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now to the Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to, I don't know the name. Wisdom and courage. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for letting me stand here at the well to introduce you. And thank you to the senator from the 5th team for letting me use your mic, even though I got a big mouth. This is truly the day that the Lord hath made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. And it's a wonderful day here in the state capitol under this golden dome, especially in this Senate chamber, because we have an awesome, anointed, appointed man of God who is going to offer us prayer. And I guess we in the need of prayer, so he's definitely here. But on January 21st of 2000, Reverend Shannon E. Jones was licensed to preach the gospel at the historic Elliott Congregational Church in Roxbury, Massachusetts, before moving back to Atlanta, where he was born and raised. In August of 2000, Reverend Jones was not only hired as the pastor for public relations political liaison to the New Birth Missionary Baptist Church and its bishop, Eddie Long, back then, but also relicensed as a Baptist minister by this house of worship on January 23rd of 2001. So Reverend Jones also served faithfully as the executive pastor of the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church from April of 2006 until December 31st of 2017. He was instrumental in building important political as well as national and international business relationships for thousands of members and national acclaimed pastors for several years. Reverend Jones coordinated official trips of countless heads of state, international government, representatives, senators, congresspersons, governors, and mayors who traveled to this church as guests. On Monday, February 1st, 2021, Reverend Shannon Jones was elected as the 11th president of the Concerned Black Clergy of Metropolitan Atlanta, Incorporated. Reverend Jones is the founding pastor of the Gathering Baptist Church located in College Park, Georgia. Prior to founding the Gathering, Reverend Shannon E. Jones served as the executive pastor, as I said, of the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church. And in this capacity, Reverend Jones was chief of staff, responsible for overseeing all historic Ebenezer day-to-day operations. He also served as the press secretary to Ebenezer's senior pastor. At that time, it was Reverend Raphael G. Warnick, who ended up and is still the pastor, but also Georgia's first black United States senator in history. Reverend Jones was previously assistant pastor for community affairs and public relations for America's Freedom Church. While serving on the pastoral staff in 2006, Reverend Jones was instrumental in organizing several outreach initiatives such as Ebenezer's Freedom Caravan, a large-scale effort to return Hurricane Katrina survivors home to New Orleans, to participate in local as well as statewide elections and cutting through the crisis, which the church is the church's special outreach in their area, especially in the 4th Ward community here in Atlanta. You had so much on your bio that, believe me, everyone, this is only 1/8 of it. So I'm going to end with this part. He was employed with the Massachusetts legislature as a press secretary for 4 years, And when he was at Northwestern University, he served in 2 committees, education and federal and finance assistant. He simultaneously managed press relations for each of the 8 members. He's done a whole lot to be such a young man, I tell you. And I won't continue because I'll take away from his time. And I know that my bishop, Bishop Lackey, is here, and he's the bishop over our whole area. Bishop Lackey, you want to stand and just wave at everyone? Bishop Lackey is here, everyone. And he's here to support us here in the Senate and to support the pastor of the day, including the pastor of the day's wife, Katya Jones, and little Samuel. Please, y'all stand up. He's 1 year old yesterday. And also, many of you probably know Pastor Shannon Jones' mother and father, Mr. Horace and Mrs. Jackie Jones, took time out to be here today. So please stand, parents, with your aunt who came all the way from Boston, I think, Massachusetts. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for accepting our Minister of the Day, Shannon E. Jones. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. And again, to my family, want to thank all of you. All stand one more time. And Bishop Lackey, my partner in faith strategies and the presiding prelate of the United Churches of God in Christ, with churches from Greenbrier to Ghana. Amen. I see some gathering members in the balcony. I see Grandma Gloria. That's all I can see right now. Welcome. And I bring you greetings from the Gathering Church, and I bring you greetings from the Concerned Black Clergy of Metropolitan Atlanta. So good to see all of my Senate friends out here today. A poem by Georgia's august scholar, the Reverend Benjamin Elijah Mays. Graduate of high school at 22 years old, went on to become the president of Morehouse College, advisor to Martin Luther King Jr., and advisor to 6 presidents. He said in his poem, "Life is just a minute. A minute is a dispensation of time. I've only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it, forced upon me, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it. Give an account if I abuse it, just a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it." Senator Jones, I got to tell you all that I am almost jealous of you all. Almost jealous because you have the minute, and you have the authority in the minute to create laws and to change lives. You guys get together and you get in committee and you talk some things over, write up some words. It goes from one committee to the other committee. It comes to the House, goes to the Senate. You come down here, you talk about it. Next thing you know, the words that you spoke in committee sent to the governor to be signed into law. And you're powerful because if I ignore what you talked about in committee, sometimes I'm driving and blue lights will be behind me and I'll say, "What's happening?" And they'll say, "You broke the law." I said, "What law? Where did this law came from?" They said, "It came from the legislature." You guys have power. I'm a preacher, but I don't have the power that you have. I got some power, spiritual power, but I don't have legislative power. The Creator has given you a minute to do some amazing things, to change people's lives. Look what you can do. If you get in a room and you have some words and you write it down and you come down here and argue, you send it over to the governor signs it, it becomes law. You can change lives. amazing to me what you can do with your minute, with your dispensation of time. It's amazing what you can do. If you want to expand Medicaid, you can do it. So that some child somewhere or some elderly person somewhere that has a $500,000 bill would be able to get the treatment that they need. You can do it. If you want to be tough on crime, but create workforce development for those who are arrested, who are nonviolent offenders, change their lives, work with industry, bring jobs in, create the workforce development so that we get young folks off the streets and give them jobs where they're making $80,000 or $100,000 a year. Who would want to stand on a corner selling drugs or getting in trouble if you could get benefits and you can get a job and you can have a career? And that can happen because the legislature did that. You all have some power. They come to me and I can pray for them, but you got the power to do it. You all are amazing. If you want to get rid of a district attorney, you can do it. Don't tell them I told you this, but it's some folks that are facing RICO that would like to have that power, but they don't have it. You got it. And you have it because you have the authority and you have the minute. You have the dispensation of time. But the interesting thing about a minute is that the minute goes away. It goes away, and now you no longer have the authority. You no longer have the minute. The troopers no longer dip their hat at you. You no longer have the decal on the back of your car. You no longer have the minute. And you began to wonder. You hear the words of Dr. King, and you began to wonder where Dr. King says it's always right to do right. And you ask yourself, did I do right with my minute? Did I do right? Did I listen to the words of my conscience, the words of my heart? Did I listen to the words of my soul? Or did I listen to the words of the talking points of the day? Because long after your minute is over and the talking points are thrown away and we've moved on, the words of our hearts continue to talk to us. The words of our conscience begin to talk to us, and they ask us, did we get it right? And then we get to a point where we say, you know what? I didn't do everything that my conscience told me to do. I didn't do everything, so I want to go back and I want to fix it, but there's a problem. The problem is I no longer have the authority. My minute has passed. I got to tell you, I'm so jealous sometimes of you people, and I love you all. You have an amazing ability to change lives. But in this devotional moment, as I tell you that the Creator gave you this power, let me just give you a word of warning. Don't sit back one day trying to change what you can't change, trying to get someone who's sitting in your seat today to hear their conscience, to hear their heart, for all of Georgia. Because that's who you serve, all of Georgia. I love it about you. You serve all of Georgia. I'm working on that as a pastor. They tell me, Mr. President Jones, that I got to serve all the congregation, those who love me and those who fight against me, because that's what I'm called to do. And you, this august body of senators, you serve all of Georgia, because that's what you're called to do. You have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it, forced upon you. Can't refuse it. Didn't seek it. You sought the office, but you didn't seek the minute that you're living in. The Creator sought the moment that you would be here today. Didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give an account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. When you make the laws, they last. Join me in prayer. most gracious Creator, ruler of heaven and earth, ruler of Georgia, ruler of House and Senate, ruler of the governor's mansion, ruler of the judiciary. We know you and we call you by many names. We worship you in many houses. But as we call you by many names, you call us to do what's right, to do it in love, and to make you proud, to give you glory. And so we ask now that you grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. In thy name we pray. Amen.
If I could have everyone's attention, that's a good idea, Senator. As I figured earlier in the week, I figured everything would come to a head on Thursday here, where we had all kinds of presentations and personal points of privilege and everything. But it was a pleasure to have Pastor Jones here today. Great message that he gave. I'm also glad to have our Mayor of Atlanta here with us today, Andre Dickens here. Glad to have him here, and proud of the work he's doing with the in the role of mayor, but also in his role of the training center that I went to go see yesterday. Mayor, it's coming along pretty well. So that's going to be a good addition to the public safety, not just for the city of Atlanta, but public safety officers all over the metro area. So let's give the mayor a warm welcome here.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Jones, for that introduction, and good morning, everyone. Good morning, Senators. Thank you all for allowing me to spend some time with you this morning and welcoming me to this esteemed chamber today, to the Lieutenant Governor, to the President Pro Temp Kennedy that I spoke with earlier, Majority Leader Gooch, and Minority Leader Butler, members of the Atlanta delegation, and all of the members of this body. I thank all of you for this opportunity to speak to you. And along with the people of the great city of Atlanta, I thank you for the work that you do on behalf of all Georgians. It is important to me that we have a good working relationship with our state leadership. I appreciate that although we may not all stand on the same political party, we can stand together to uplift the people of Atlanta and the people of Georgia. The city of Atlanta enjoys an excellent working relationship with so many of our state partners, especially when it comes to one of the most important issues to all of us, and that is public safety. We have had an outstanding support from the GBI, the Georgia State Patrol, and so many other state agencies as we work to reduce crime in Atlanta. These partnerships have helped us to significantly bring our crime numbers down in 2023. We ended the year with citywide major crimes against people down more than 15% last year, and that included double-digit drops in homicides, aggravated assaults, and shootings, and rapes were down 51% last year in the city of Atlanta. All of this underscores, yes, we can clap for public safety. And a 21% reduction in homicides, which was the third highest drop of any city in the entire nation. All of this underscores our work to create a safer environment for the people that live and work in the city of Atlanta. And I know that is a common goal for all of us. Another common goal that we all share is figuring out how to bring more affordable housing and those options to the people that we all represent. The lack of affordable housing isn't just a challenge for Atlanta, it's a challenge all across the state of Georgia. And it is especially challenging as we work to house our unsheltered residents. But luckily, we have very dedicated partners, and many are in this room. A rapid housing effort that started with an offer of shipping containers from our state partners at GEMA has led to The Melody, a nearly 40 previously unsheltered people have a safe and clean place to lay their heads at night. That number may seem small to you, but this is a big deal. You can just ask our senator right here, Kim Jackson. As the vicar of the Church of the Common Ground, Senator Jackson's members make up a quarter of the folks now living at The Melody. Thank you for your partnership, and thank you for how hard you've worked on making sure the unsheltered have got housed. In fact, over the last 2 years, yes, we can thank Senator Jackson for her hard work. Her church has actually helped to house about 80 people over the last couple of years, thanks to the city and partnering, creating more units of permanent affordable housing. But it's really not just about the number of units of housing, it's about the people and us helping them to get their lives back on track. One of the people who was that has residence now at the Melody reminds me of why working so hard on helping them find permanent housing is so important. His name is George. George is a truck driver, but he had a series of strokes, and he can't work as a truck driver anymore. So he lost his truck driving job, and no longer does he have that job, but he also doesn't have his home. Here's a guy who made all the right choices, and he trained to do the job that he loves. He has a CDL license, and he drove for years, but a stroke and a series of medical bills has led him to homelessness, and he lived on the streets of Atlanta. We had people like George in mind when we launched our Rapid Housing Initiative, and that's why we opened the Melody. And when you start putting a face to this problem, you can hear these stories and you realize that some of the people who work the hardest and try to do the right thing can still find themselves upside down at the end of the day. And their government is and should be there to help them. So we thank you for your partnership in these efforts to house the unhoused. I hope you see the efforts that we're making across the city. And before I leave, I want to give some shout outs in the audience. She's putting on lipstick right now, so I'm going to tell her to stop. Senator Gloria Butler, you certainly deserve your flowers. You believe that government should help. You have been a champion of getting all Georgia residents the health care they need, especially those that are vulnerable. Health care is just one of the issues that you have fought for over your 26 years here. I know your constituents are going to miss you and the presence that you have given to this great state as you retire. So Senator Butler, I thank you for your years of service and your dedication to improving the lives of Georgians, not just the people of your district, but all of Georgia. You have worked hard for all of us, and we are extremely grateful. And to all of you, I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak to you today, and I'm proud of the relationship that we have with our state leadership, and happy that when we come together to do the right thing, great things happen. That happened when we were able to help keep the city of Atlanta whole last year. As I said then, we're going to keep moving Atlanta forward together, one city with one bright future. My hope is that we can always keep our lines of communications open as we have, and we're all committed to making the best choices in the best interest of the people of this great state and this great city. So thank you for welcoming me today, and I look forward to continuing our outstanding partnership between the city and the state. Thank you.
Here and hold the gavel for you. All right, we've got some special guests here today. We've got 3 fine educators. Always like to recognize our teachers here in the state. We've got 3 good ones here behind me. Secretary, read the first resolution.
Senate Resolution 663, 664, and 665 by Senator Butler of the 55th and others. Resolutions commending Whitney Green, Lithonia High School's 2023 Teacher of the Year, commending Ashley Thomas, Stevenson High School's 2023 Teacher of the Year, and commending Nalini Bob, Miller Grove High School's 2023 Teacher of the Year, and for other purposes. Whereas nothing is more vital to the future of our state than the education of our young people, and these teachers exemplify the selfless dedication that is characteristic of our finest teachers. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Whitney Green, Ashley Thomas, and Nalini Bob as 2023 Teachers of the Year and express their most sincere best wishes for continued success. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to hearing none? The resolutions are adopted. If everyone could give me your attention, we have senators from the 55th. Is our minority leader is going to recognize and introduce these 3 fine young ladies we have here. So, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the Senate. It is my absolute pleasure to recognize 3 teachers, 1 from my district and 2 from other districts, but they have been awarded the Teacher of the Year. And I'll say a little bit about each one, and as I call your name, please raise your hand so that the members of this body will know who you are. So my first Teacher of the Year, originally from Eaton, Georgia, Whitney M. Green. And she has built a career focused on the education and empowerment of scholars in mathematics. She graduated from Spelman College in 2009 with a bachelor's degree in mathematics, followed by an MBA from Mercer in 2015. Whitney's professional journey began at Morehouse School of Medicine, where she served as program manager for the Student Research Enterprise from 2011 to 2017. Whitney went on to the DeKalb County School District, where her passion in mathematics in secondary education as an instructor. Further, Whitney completed an educational specialist in educational leadership from Valdosta State in 2023, and currently she is the mathematics department chair, which focuses on the curriculum for implementation and supporting her colleagues in professional growth. Whitney, Teacher of the Year for 23 and 2024. My next Teacher of the Year is Nalini Babb. One of her greatest joys as a business teacher and her ultimate goal in teaching young people is to develop students in the area of business, technology, and economics in order for them to be successful in post-secondary and career options. Through these skills, students will enhance themselves by becoming productive employees, keen consumers, and wise business leaders and/or entrepreneurs. It is also rewarding when students return several years later after graduating, Ms. Babb says, from college or being part of the workforce and share with me how her class impacted their performance at school and at work. And finally, Ashley Thomas, a DeKalb County school teacher for 17 years. And 9 of those years, she taught science to middle school students, and 8 of them were at Stevenson High School. She was named Star Teacher in 2019 and granted the Explorer Learning Leadership Award for implementation in 2015 and 16. And she also earned from Kennesaw Bagwell Scholar Award in spring 2022. And while she's currently working on her doctorate degree at Kennesaw State. She's an Atlanta native, product of DeKalb County, Southwest High School, Chapel Hill Junior High, and Rainbow Elementary. Please give a round of applause for 3 of the finest teachers of the year.
All right, it's always a pleasure to have our Boy Scouts. We got Boy Scouts Day today, and it's always great to have them. You can't miss them out in the hallways because there's a lot of them, and but we appreciate all the work that these young people do, and the adults that help them and work with them, and because it's a great organization, do a lot of great work. And Secretary, read the caption, and we'll have the senator up here to speak for them. Secretary?
Senate Resolution 590 by Senator Kennedy of the 18th and others. A resolution recognizing and commending the Boy Scouts of America in Georgia upon the 2024 Scouts Day at the Capitol and for other purposes. Whereas the Boy Scouts of America is an organization dedicated to training youth in responsible citizenship, character development, and self-reliance through participation in a wide range of outdoor activities, educational programs, and service projects. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize and honor the Boy Scouts of America in Georgia for their commitment to the values and principles of scouting and for their service to this state. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Clap. I'd like to recognize the pro tem, the senator from the 18th, to speak to the resolution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. What a great morning. You see all these scouts that are roaming around the Capitol today. They've got big smiles on their faces, and it's wonderful to see how legislators light up when we see the youth of our state, especially because we know they are in an incredible leadership program called Boy Scouts. I also want to echo the Lieutenant Governor, the President's comments about encouragement for the parents and those that are supporters of those who are in scouting. Please keep it up. I rise to honor the members of the Boy Scouts of America in Georgia that are visiting us today. It's an incredible organization dedicated to training youth in responsible citizenship, character development, and self-reliance through participation in various outdoor activities. Can you think of anything more or better that kids need to know and learn about today than those three things? The Boy Scouts of America is also one of the largest groups in America. Furthermore, the Boy Scouts have contributed to the state's communities through their service projects, as many of you know and hopefully read about in your hometown papers, of the many things that the Scouts do, whether it's an Eagle Scout project or a troop project, of simply improving our communities. I'm honored to have some folks with me today. I'm going to introduce in just a second, but I'll tell you a quick little story. When we took our photo out front on the steps with those, and I want to thank the senators that are on the rostrum with me who have participated in Scouts for so long and helped the development of young boys and girls in our state. This sweet little girl, after she took her picture with me, she leaned down and she said, "I was real happy to skip school today to meet you." And trust me, the emphasis was on skip school today, not meet you. I was really happy to skip school today. We've got some great folks here. Tracy Tekow, who is Executive Director for the Boy Scouts and doing a great job in leadership here in Georgia. Claude Gatlin, Strategic Initiatives Development Center. I'm going to call Tracy up now to introduce some really special folks that are in the chamber. And then after that, I'm going to ask that we will acknowledge the great folks that are in the gallery, the Boy Scouts that are here, and the Scout leaders. Thank y'all for being here as well. And when they finish, let's give them a great Senate welcome when the Scouts finish introducing themselves. Mr. Tekow.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. It's an honor to be here. These 5 Scouts that you're about to meet represent the over 40,000 Scouts active right now today in the state of Georgia. We're creating future citizens and leaders in an engaged group of people who care about making Georgia the best state in the nation. And you're about to meet 5 of these Scouts. And I've asked each of them to state their name, their troop number, their city, and to do it nice and loudly, okay? So first, Asa.
Hello everyone, I'm Asa Payne. I'm from Troop 303, based in Dahlonega, Georgia.
All right. Here we go. There we go. Get you right there. All right, there you go.
Hi, my name is Kehaulani Sako. I'm in Troop 5589, and I'm based in Beaufort, Georgia.
Hey, my name is Noah Williams. I am in Troop 2700. And I'm located in Mableton, Georgia.
Hi, my name is Nora McNeil. I'm in Troop 5589, and I'm from Beaufort, Georgia.
Hi, my name is Asher Alicio. I am Troop 277, and I am Marietta, Georgia.
That it? Yep, that's it.
Thank y'all for that. Thanks for giving them your attention. It's a great day. Let's give them one more welcome to the Georgia Senate.
And all the confusion up here this morning, I forgot to mention our doctor of the day today, but we're proud to have him all the way from Rome, Georgia here today, and we always appreciate our physicians coming down here and volunteer their time. I will recognize our Chairman of Finance to introduce our doc of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, we sit around here and we say, you know, it's not brain surgery, but actually that's what this guy does. He does brain surgery. And a lot of times I'm a few feet away there doing anesthesia. I try to give him advice on do a little more here, but he doesn't ever listen to me on that. But he is a Johns Hopkins trained neurosurgeon. Went to, I think it was University of Michigan, and he also was a Robert Wood Johnson Scholar in their epidemiology program as well. He's originally from Bartow County in my district, now is in Floyd County at the hospital that I might have mentioned was #1 in the state in critical care outcomes according to health grades. He's one of the reasons why. But he works at both hospitals, and his wife, Dr. Annie Cowan, is an anesthesiologist at the other hospital, so sometimes she's my boss over there when I go help out at the other hospital as well. The farm he grew up on there in Bartow County before he moved over to Floyd is actually now where the SK battery plant, the third largest investment in Georgia, has been put in. He has 4 brilliant children. I know one of them sports, stringed instruments in the symphony, and now is at Stanford as a freshman, and 3 more brilliant ones on the way. He's been a real pleasure to work with in the operating room and a great member of our community up there, Dr. John Cowan.
Thank you for having me today, and thank you, Chuck and Chuck. So it's an honor to be here today. I commend you guys on the hard work you're doing for the citizens of the state of Georgia and to advancing health care and trying to make Georgia one of the healthiest states in the country. I hope you guys don't need me today. I do remember some of my basic medicine. Brain surgery is hard to do down in the first aid clinic down there, but we'll do our best. But thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any unanimous consents? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? Recognize the senator from the 6th.
Good morning, colleagues. This morning I rise to recognize the Leadership Atlanta class of 2024. These are leaders from all across Metro Atlanta, and I know that several of you have met them here this morning. Leadership Atlanta is one of the oldest sustained community leadership programs in the country, and as a proud alum of that program, I'd like for my colleagues to join me in welcoming the class of 2024, some of whom are in the gallery right now. So colleagues, if you could join me in welcoming them very quickly. Thank you so much, and with that, I yield the well.
I recognize this as a pro tem for appointed personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning again, colleagues. What a privilege it is for me today to recognize and also welcome some dear friends of mine from home that are here because March 7 this year, 2024, is Monroe County Day here at the state capitol. Monroe County is where Susan and I live and have reared our children and are very proud residents of Monroe County. While recognizing Monroe County is vital to think about the reasons of what local leadership does for flourishment, starts with the Monroe County Commission and all the other people that serve as local leaders back home. It produces a very thriving economy and a faithful execution of goals that really represent a demonstration of exceptional leadership for folks that we have back home. And I know most of us in the Senate represent multiple counties, and some get along better than others. And I can tell you that with Monroe County, it is such a privilege to work for them. I have the privilege of representing the whole county, but there's something a little bit unique about some of my friends who were over against the wall. I'm going to recognize or introduce in just a minute. The chairman of the Monroe County Commission and the largest city in the county, which is the city of Forsyth, the chairman and the mayor are longtime best friends and business partners. So how often do you see that? And I understand from one of them that the only time they argue is about politics. The rest of the time they all get along. But it is a great example of what happens when you have great servant leadership at the local level. We've got a Monroe County Chamber of Commerce that works so hard to improve the quality of life through the development of new ideas, techniques, and technologies. From home to outdoor tourist attractions that we have in Monroe County, like Lake Juliet and High Falls State Park and Chattahoochee National Park. It's a great place to live, a great place to visit, and I know so many of you transition through Monroe County when you come up 75. Here today, I've got some good friends that are here. Greg Tapley is the chairman of the Monroe County Commission. Mayor Wilson, Eric Wilson of the city of Forsyth is with us. Stuart Pippin, Monroe County Board of Education. Stuart, raise your hand. Thank you. Lynn Miller, with the mayor of Culloden, our other city that's in the county. Nick Morgan, chairman of the Monroe County Chamber, is with us. Stan Hall, the Hospital Authority of Monroe County, and Joyce White, the Development Authority of Monroe County. These are great servants and great examples of how folks that are doing it for the right reason, working hard and boots on the ground for us back home, make our jobs to come here to Atlanta a whole lot easier. And with that, I thank them for being here, and I'd ask you all to give my Monroe County folks a great Senate welcome. With that, Mr. President, I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator, and thank our friends from Monroe County. Y'all are my neighbors down there, and I can tell you we've got businesses down in Monroe County. Number one, Monroe County is a thriving little community, and it is a very business-friendly community, and it's because of their leadership that they have there. And the mayor, I know he told me he's going to open an account at the local Ace Hardware there. I heard the owners are pretty nice down there, so thank y'all very much. Recognize the senator from 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President, my fellow senators, colleagues, friends, and y'all. Today I rise to recognize outstanding women in radio and television in honor of March being our National Women's Her Story Month. I am here and honored to recognize Wandalyn Stokes, Ms. Shanika, Gwen Redding, Sharon C., Lisa Nichols, Dr. Maria Boynton, and Dee Hill. Please join me in giving them a round of applause for these magnificent ladies' outstanding accomplishments. And we will be serving lunch in CLOB 14. Lunch is on us. We thank y'all. Give them another round of applause.
All right, thank you, ladies. Good to have you back down here. I think we had some of y'all here last year, I believe. I believe we recognized some of y'all here last year, so good to have you. I recognize the senator from the 28th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've got a lot of groups down here today, but one great group I would like to acknowledge is one that is near and dear to my heart. Today is Nurses Day here at the Georgia State Capitol, and we have many of them, or some of them in the audience or in the gallery with us today. So if you see some white coats running around, please talk to them and get to know them and what they're all about. And you know, our nurses are true rock stars that were on the front lines and got us through the pandemic, and now they're on the front lines keeping us healthy every single day. So thank y'all for all you do to keep Georgia healthy. I yield the well.
All right, thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. So always good to have the nurses here. Recognize the senator from the 4th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to recognize today as Georgia Pre-K Week launch, and we got some special people in the gallery along with that. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner Susan Adams, Judy Fitzgerald, Executive Director of Voices of Georgia. There you go. Okay, over here. Okay, thank y'all. Megan McNeil, who is Director of Pre-K Instruction and Regional Operation for DECAL. Ray Griffin, Chief Communications Officer of DECAL. Olivia Amato, Program Specialist, Voices for Georgia Children. And a Pre-K Teacher of the Year, Meredith Brown. Where you at, Meredith? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sean O'Neill, Vice President of Initiative Council, Junior League of Atlanta. Wandy Meadows, Executive Director of Hand, Heart, and Soul Project. And Justin Bray, Executive Director of Books for Keep. You know, I was amazed this morning when I saw this. What a great governor we had in Governor Zell Miller. And of course, we had great governors since then, but Governor Zell Miller was the one that launched a pilot program called Georgia's Pre-K Program. At the time, the educational program served 754-year-olds in the state. Now, 32 years later, we're serving over 73,000 children. As we've talked about in this body many, many times, we've got a lot of other children that need to be served by pre-K, and we're going to try to expand that. Georgia's pre-K program is a nationally recognized program that has served more than 2 million of Georgia's children. To celebrate this impactful program, the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning and Voices for Georgia Children hold their annual event, Georgia Pre-K Week. Each of us are invited to visit Georgia Pre-K classrooms, and you have really missed a tremendous blessing. So in that week is October 7th through the 11th, and I'd like to encourage all of you to sign up for Pre-Cal Week. Thank you, and thank you for being here. Mr. President, I yield the will.
All right, good job, Senator, good job. I recognize the senator from the 1st on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't come down here much, but I just wanted to give a sort of refresher or an update relating to Medicaid, our waiver programs, access pathways, and so forth. So if we're talking about what we did 5 years ago when Governor Kemp first came into office, he had 2 waivers for the ACA, and they were the 1115, and that's 0 to 100%, and the 1332 waiver. That's the ACA waiver, and that's from 100% up to 138% of federal poverty level. Now, the federal poverty level is about 100% is about $14,500 a year for a single person. That's what 100% is. So now we've progressed to a point that after jumping through many hoops, crossing the T's, going to federal court, and so forth, we have implemented this plan. So we now call it Pathways and Access. Access now has, get this number, 730,000 people enrolled. Let me repeat that for emphasis. 730,000 people are enrolled from 100% up to 138%. This is on the exchange, the ACA exchange, and if we include 100% up to 400%, which is the exchange, right, that is about 1.5 million people. So almost half, actually it's a little bit more than half because it's not quite 1.5 million, are in that 100% up to 138%. And guess how much premium they pay and how much copay they pay? 0. And this is with insurance. It's not with Medicaid. And if you're talking about access, insurance has virtually 100% access across the state, whether you're a provider or whether you are a hospital. They love insurance, right? Medicaid pays about 65% on the dollar. Medicare, which is for older, age, blind, and disabled, that's about 85% on the dollar. Insurance generally pays 110, 120, 130% of cost, and these are real costs. So that's where we are with the 730,000 people. Where we got caught and delayed was by the feds in delaying our tactics, which we won overwhelmingly. And then we have to do the redetermination because of the emergency, right? Everybody on Medicaid has to get redetermined every year. But this time it was 3 years because of the public health emergency. So we're in the process of doing that. We have until the end of May. It has to cure for another 90 days. So we're talking about the summer, actually probably closer to the fall before we are fully redetermined, done with the appeals and the curing process. The governor's made it clear in that he has sued, I can probably finish this tomorrow. And I'll give us a final update then because I have the Arkansas, Mississippi plan, and we're going to discuss it just a little bit more. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Senator, you can either do it tomorrow, which is fine, or you can do it after everybody else is done with the points of personal privilege, and the halls will probably be a little bit clearer. So, but thank you for that, Senator. All right, I'm gonna let Senator from the 10th jump ahead because he's got about 15, 17-year-olds over here that I know we won't be able to keep their attention too much longer. So, recognize Senator from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just want to recognize a very special group that's joined myself, the senator from the 25th, and the senator from the 17th from Henry County. These are Malachi kids. You may see them. They're over here to my right. These kids are being schooled at the Malachi Project in McDonough. And these are kids that are primarily from fatherless homes. If you see them, say hello to them. And this body was gracious enough to contribute an appropriations toward the great work that Pastor Terrell and his wife are doing at the Malachi home, at the Malachi school in the city of McDonough. And again, thanks again to the senator from the 17th and the senator from the 25th for supporting the great work that the Malachi Project is doing. Please give them a hand on our behalf.
And if every senator, please remember, we got a Senate rule, 5 at a time. 5 at a time. I know we got a lot of people in the hallways, but y'all try to respect the rules here. So, because it just gets noisy when somebody's doing a point of personal privilege. So, appreciate Senator from the 10th bringing those cute little youngsters from down in Henry County. I recognize the senator from the 24th for a point of personal privilege, or the 23rd for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm honored today to recognize the Georgia Forestry North District Unit of the Year. We have a great Forestry Commission. They do a tremendous job in protecting the lands and the properties of the citizens of Georgia. And today we are honored in the Senate to recognize those who are the best of the best. There's a Senate resolution that will be coming to you probably tomorrow, Senate Resolution 731. I'm going to take a moment or two and just read excerpts so you'll know why we're here today. The Georgia Forestry Commission is tasked to provide leadership, service, and education in the protection and conservation of Georgia's forestry resources. The outstanding accomplishments of the McDuffie-Warren County Unit, the Berrien County Unit, and the Forest Protection Area 9 are all being recognized for their work in both the prevention, suppression of wildfires, restoration, seed collection, community outreach, education, construction, building and remodeling, storm relief, and any number of other tasks that the Georgia Forestry Commission provides. We are honored today to have my constituents here. I'm so grateful that they're here. Mark Peebles. Mark, you're here. Raise your hand. Mark is the Chief Ranger of the McDuffie-Warren Unit. He lives in McDuffie County. We also have with us Andy Taylor. Andy's a ranger too. He is a McDuffie-Warren County Unit member, lives in Warrenton. Chris Becker. Thank you, Chris. Chris is a ranger also with the McDuffie County Unit. I hope that all of you realize what a great work they do for the state of Georgia. We have with us Tim Larimore. Tim is the director of the Georgia Forestry Commission, and we also have Johnny Sabo. Johnny is the deputy director. If you own forestry land, if you own property, if you have a challenge or an incident that you need their help, they are there to help you. They are the servants of the people of Georgia, and I'm proud to represent them. Please join me in thanking the North Georgia Forestry Unit of the Year from Warren and McDuffie County. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the good senator from the 24th for his help in this as well.
Thank you, Senator. Good. Glad to have our forestry guys down here today. Recognize the senator from the 3rd for appointed personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I just wanted to call to your attention that on your desk today, you have the 2023 annual report from the Jekyll Island Authority and Jekyll Island. And I wanted to tell you that if you have not been to Jekyll in the last 20 years, because the last time you were there, your experience was not a good one, then you need to go back. You have a treat coming to you. I'm going to tell you, I'm so proud of what the Jekyll Island Authority has been able to accomplish over the last 15 to 20 years on Jekyll. Under former Executive Director Jones Hooks and current Executive Director Mark Williams. The authority has had the support of 3 governors, Governor Perdue, Governor Deal, and now Governor Kemp. We've had the support of the House and also the support of this chamber, and it's appreciated by all of those folks in my district, and it's appreciated by all the people of the state of Georgia who go down to Jekyll. It's been a true redevelopment of Jekyll has been a true public-private partnership success. For every dollar that the state of Georgia has put in infrastructure on Jekyll, they've gotten a matching minimum of $3 in private investment. So with all that working together, Jekyll continues to be, and we are proud that it is, Georgia's jewel. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 21st for appointed personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate colleagues, I rise before you today as chairman of the Economic Development and Tourism Committee. You know, there's been a lot of talk about tax credits and getting rid of certain tax credits. And I want you to know I'm a fiscal conservative, and I want to make sure we're getting a good return on our investment. But I would argue that we are getting a good return on our investment. We're the #1 state to do business 10 years in a row. Every month, Governor Kemp and Commissioner Pat Wilson are announcing a new job somewhere around our state. We're the 8th largest state, and we're growing fast, and they say within 6 to 8 years we'll be the 5th largest state in the country. We're one of 8 states in the country that have a AAA bond rating, and we had a $16 billion surplus. Folks, we're doing something right. And I want to specifically address the film industry. When Governor Perdue instituted the tax credits, he was taking a big leap of faith. People didn't think we could compete with Hollywood. We couldn't be a player in the film business. You look what it's done to Sonoya, Georgia. You look what it's done with Trillis Studios. You look what it's done with Tyler Perry Studios, Assembly and Third Rail. The investment has been great in the film business. We've really made strides in putting down infrastructure, putting down roots, and now they can film a movie from cradle to grave. I want to just make sure that we really think about what we're doing on these tax credits. Again, we're doing something right. We're the #1 state to do business. And Mr. President, I just don't want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. Mr. President, I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 8th.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm glad to be here with my esteemed Vice Chairman of the Sportsman's Caucus. And I just wanted to remind everybody that today, at Starters Range and Guns, from 5 to 8, we're going to have the Georgia Legislative Sportsman's Caucus range shoot. So, well, I wish y'all could have seen the senator from the 5th's daughter there shooting. I think she had a big time, didn't she, last year? And so we hope you'll join us. And Mr. President, with that, I will yield the well.
Senator, I don't think you've ever talked that short before in your life. So I just knew I was going to have a few minutes right there. Recognize the senator from the 50th for appointed personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today because yesterday was a big day in the Hatchett household. My oldest daughter, Hallie, turned 7. And so, Hallie, just want to wish you a happy birthday. I yield the well.
All right. Happy birthday. Recognize the senator from the 40th for appointed personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. As long as we're evidently doing announcements now, this is really just an announcement for the members of the Working Families Caucus. Remember that we are meeting today. Upon adjournment, it will be in 307 of the CLOB, and the topic is really a good one and important. We're going to be covering the Certificate of Need and other key hospital legislation issues, and we'll have Anna Adams with the Georgia Hospital Association. Thank you, Mr. President.
Does any other senator wish to rise on appointed personal privilege? You have before you a consent calendar of privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection for the adoption of the resolution on the consent calendar? Chair hears none. The resolution on the consent calendar is adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw and commit? Recognize the senator from the 13th for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the Senate adhere to the disagreement to the House amendment to Senate Substitute House Bill 196 that a conference committee be appointed.
Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 196, a bill by Representative Powell of the 33rd and others, a bill to be town and act to amend Article 9 of Chapter 12 of Title 16 of the OCGA relating to access to medical cannabis, so as to provide that the Georgia Access to Medical Cannabis Commission shall be subject to the Administrative Procedure Act and laws governing open meetings and open records, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator has moved that the Senate insists on its position. Is there objection? Objection. We will appoint a committee of conferees. Conferees will be the senator from the 13th, senator from the 11th, and senator from the 50th. All right, if I could have everyone's attention real quick. We're in a posture where we're waiting on the House to get us the 25 budget. We've already lost a couple of days because the House has been a little slow to move, but we're going to forgive them for it. But we've already lost a couple of days, so the majority leader is going to make a motion that we suspend the rules, and we're going to stand in recess until we receive the bill here, and nobody has to be. The only thing we're just trying to save a day is all we're doing. So nobody has to return back to the chamber, because as soon as we receive the bill, we'll assign it to appropriations and then adjourn. So that's the posture we're in, and I was just letting everybody know. So I recognize the senator from the 51st.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent that Senate Rule 3-1.2, paragraph C, be suspended to allow for the receipt and assignment of House Bill 216, the FY25 appropriations bill. 916.
Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the rules are suspended. Recognize the senator from the 51st for another motion.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate stand in recess pending receipt of a message from the House, and that upon receipt of said message and assignment of House Bill 916, the Senate stand adjourned until 9 a.m. on Friday, March 8th, 2024.
All right, the senator has moved that we stand in recess. Committee hearings will go on as planned, and we'll have the secretary read the announcements. But is there objection to the senator's motion? That objection Motion passed. Secretary, read the announcements.
The Rules Committee will meet upon adjournment in 4:50. The Children and Families Committee will meet at 1 p.m. in 307 of the CLOB. The State Institutions and Property Committee will meet at 1 p.m. in 450. The Retirement Committee will meet at 2 p.m. in 307 of the CLOB. The Regulated Industries and Utilities Committee will meet at 2 p.m. in 450. The Public Safety Committee will meet at 3 p.m. in 450. The Economic Development and Tourism Committee will meet at 3 p.m. in Mez 1. The Judiciary Committee will meet at 4 p.m. in 307 of the CLOB. And the Veterans, Military, and Homeland Security Committee will meet at 5 p.m. in 310 of the CLOB. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there any other announcements? Recognize the Senator from the 28th.
Rules will be immediately once we leave the chamber, not upon adjournment because we're going to be in recess. So as soon as we walk out here.
Thank you, Senator. All right, the Senate will stand in recess, and as the rules chairman stated, those who are on rules go to your committees as the announcements are, as they were stated, because all I need is the majority leader when we receive the big budget back over here. So we'll stand in recess, and please, everybody go to your committees so we can get those committee work done. All right, stand in recess. Thank you.